didn't touch. She was just sleeping. I felt like it was planned. She told me that, please, I shouldn't tell my mom what happened. Not having your brain and your reactions. Yeah, I'm still a work in progress. That's my own story.
Ahead of Friday wager task presentation, the housemates are to make a 15-minute film being on a dark moment in their lives. So the housemates are to come together, write this story, and then know how to make it into a 15-minute video, more like a skit. So the head of house now said, they'll have to write down each person's dark moment in order to know how this will be merged together and put into a film. So with that, the housemates started sharing their individual dark moments. But I'll start with Nelly's story first, and after which I'll tell you why I decided to start with her story. So Nelly told a story of an event that happened when she was younger. Did I say younger? When she was still a child, because as of then, she was still in primary school. So she said her mom got posted to a remote village as a teacher. And being that she was the last child, her older siblings are boys, they are all in school. Her mom obviously had to go with her to this, she had to come along with her mom to this remote place that they posted her mom to. And meanwhile, as of that time, her mom was still schooling and working. So the apartment they gave them, they had these neighbors who happens to be a pastor and his wife. And being that the mom was still schooling, she said some weekends it will need that her mom go back to town, attend to her studies, and then come back. Now, her mom trusted their neighbors so well, the pastor, that what their mom now do is make sure there is food at home and then tell these people, oh, my daughter is around, look after her and all that. So she said on this very faithful day, she had locked their house only for the pastor and the wife who just came back from a crusade to come knocking, telling her to come join them in their house. That you know how village can be now, that they sensed new bad guys in around in the village, in town or whatever, that she should come stay with them as so they could keep an eye on her and be sure that nothing happens to her. Innocent her now. She just grabbed her wrapper and then moved to their place. She said getting there, they told her no, she won't sleep in the parlor. She will be on the same room with them, but then on the floor. So she slept on the floor. And she said, just then, what next? She started noticing a movement on her, and it's this pastor. So she said she was struggling. She screamed, but from the way she was screaming, that she knew that that man's wife heard her, but intentionally kept mute. She said she screamed. She at some point couldn't take it any longer of this man forcing himself on her. She had to rush to the restroom, and from there ran back to their house. And what happened? In the morning, this pastor's wife brought some rice, rubbish things, like a sort of bribe now, begging her not to spill, that the husband is a pastor. If she eventually says, they will demote the husband, or they will kind of take him out from his pastoring, whatever. And she said, well, she just told the woman there's no way she will keep mute, that once her mom is there, she's telling her mother. So she said her mother came back, rushed her to the hospital. They checked and, medically she was okay. And now they went to the police station, reported, but then you know how Nigerian system works. That was how that story ended. Like, the police couldn't do anything about it. Now, in fact, not quite long, her mom told her, oh, that she saw, guess who I saw? And her mom mentioned this pastor's name. And as of the time the mom was telling her about him, the mom said he was no longer a pastor. But that even as an adult, even years later, her mom is telling her this, she still feel pain about this particular man. Now, Victoria came on stage, shared about things she has been through in life, how she lost her dad at a very tender age, had to struggle, had to hustle, and then how during one of her modeling gigs they closed quite late, and then she decided to pass a night in a friend's house. But what happened? Same story with Nelly's happened to her. Now, Anita came up and shared similar story as well. And she said hers happened when she was still a child too. And she's still trying to process it because initially she thought she was her fault. So she kept on blaming herself, not up until she had a conversation with someone. And the person was like, no, why are you blaming yourself? You were just a child. And she said that it's this same case of, oh, take care of my child for me, or look after my child for me. Honestly, while this is a task to them, it just had me thinking like parents have to be very, very careful. To think this did not happen with strangers. These are people that your parents had so much trust in. These are people you know, like the case of Victoria. Not like you went to a stranger's house now. It's someone you know, and they're doing this to you. Like, how careful can one be in this journey of life? Well, I'm getting emotional. Let's move to other housemates. So Topher shared how growing up, he had a medical condition that made it difficult for him to do certain games, and that he's happy to be in Biggie's house because most of the things he's doing here, he's doing them for the first time. That as a child, he didn't get to play. And even sometimes when he's trying to do all these athletic stuffs, there is still that little fear in him, like what if something happens? But he's glad he's doing this. Well, Sooj shared a story of how when he was preparing to go audition in the American football, is it audition? I don't know if the name is audition or I don't know if the term is audition, sure. But he said he had a home accident that almost cost him one of his legs. For KELLYRAE, it's an event that happened when he was still a child that have made him not to even trust people. He said his father was poisoned. He was 3 months old as of when his father died. And, that feeling of growing up without a father, and then coupled with the fact that he was poisoned. Onyeka also spoke about growing up without a father, how it affected a part of her, that part that yields for genuine love. Onyeka also spoke about other circumstances that happened with her growing up, but she wouldn't want to go into details, being that other parties are involved. But it affected her mentally, that her brain, is sort of, not really normal at that point. But then everything is fine now. And she also spoke on how a friend of hers, someone she considered a good friend, tried to unleash her. Onyeka cried at some point and they didn't even want to continue with the explanation. But thanks to her bestie, Ozzy, when she came back to her seat, he started comforting her, telling her that you don't need to be loved. Because Onyeka also pinpoints that even up to now, she's still trying to heal, work in progress, one time at a go. Glad she has her bestie now, because when Ozzy went to complain to OC and Sean on how what Onyeka has been saying, OC sounded irritated, like, oh, bro, you're beginning to annoy me with this your friendship explanation story. And OC saying that I'm beginning to look like boyfriend requirements, which he's not. Well, glad that after OC even replied in that harsh way, he still came to have a conversation with Onyeka, telling her that if not for anything, for the sake of Chizoba would not like to see them just beefing one another like that. And after which, OC then came and had a conversation with Onyeka, and I guess everything is Gucci now. Other housemates also shared their dark moments, like for Wanni and Handi. They said they've always been bullied everywhere they walked, how people body shamed them, but above all that, here they are doing very well for themselves. In fact, Handi said at some point she was very shy, that she could not even stand up to people, but here she is hyping, doing DJ in the front of millions of people. They also mentioned about a time in uni when someone shared their nude pictures, how they felt during that period. And they said it's because of that when Ruthie insulted them, that it got to them, because it's just like seeing a real life troll, seeing someone that have been trolling you in real life. So that it really got to them. After they were done sharing their individual stories, Anita was doing the right, and the whole time they were explaining. The main cocoa now is how to put it together, make a story out of it, and the story be a 15 minutes film. And they are also the ones that will be shooting this film. Big Brother will provide them with props, camera, everything. They will shoot and submit right after their pool party ahead of Friday. Well, good luck to the housemates, and they also wagered 100%. So good luck to them. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and please always keep an eye on your loved ones. Trust nobody. Don't trust people just like that too. People are mischievous. And please, for parents in the house, always keep an eye on your child. Thank you and good morning.
One of my biggest fear was failure.
When I overthink, I tend to, analyze.
I am ordained to be a blessing to. Then thirdly,